Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV here at the Precious Metal Summit in Zurich. And it's my honor and pleasure now to talk to Ian Harris, the president and CEO of Outcrop Silver and Gold. Ian, welcome.
Thanks for having me. A pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. And great to have you here. Colombia, gold and silver. Always a good place to be, I would say. Give us a short overview on the company, please.
I think the biggest takeaway is Santa Ana is one of the highest grade primary silver deposits. So we'll break it down. It's extremely high grade, and it's truly a primary silver project, and it's in the a classical colonial district of mining metals district of Colombia. It's where you want to be. It's the real estate you want to be in.
Okay, super. So that means infrastructure-wise, everything is in good shape.
I think it's more important that people are accustomed to seeing mining. It's been a part of the heritage. There's active mining in the area. So geologically, but also from a social standpoint, it's got a lot of positives going for it.
Okay, super. So what have you achieved this year? Because the year is ending, but what have you achieved this year? Have you reached all your goals you wanted to have?
So I think the big takeaway, I've been in CEO, I'm a mining engineer by background, 25 years in the industry, was Joe left with an incredible resource estimate, about 37 million ounces of high-grade silver. But on the back of that, now is new metallurgical test work. It's still the high grade. We've restarted drilling. Drilling's now ongoing. We're about to get into that news flow of drill results coming out. And that's what we wanted to achieve. There's really two directions to create significant value for the project. The 37 million ounces was only based on 7 veins. We already have 22 that have been mapped and sampled to show primary silver, very high grade. So we have this nice pathway to increase resources dramatically, see a pathway to get over that 100 million ounce mark. But there's another one that's on the back of that metallurgical test work. We have very special mineralogy because we have silver sulfide. So it's floating by itself. It doesn't need a lead or a zinc or a pyrite. We're creating a very, very, very excited about the metallurgical test work showing 93% recovery.
Oh, wow.
Potentially a concentrate that can go direct to smelting. So we could be creating and producing doré on site without the need of cyanide. So it means high grade, but also a very high payable. Most people don't know a zinc concentrate might only get you 70% of the value back to you, but in a doré, you're getting that 95%, 98 plus payable, plus a 93% recovery. Really bodes well for the project.
And it's also more safe for the shipment.
That's right. It's a whole lot easier, a lot easier logistically, et cetera. So we see this pathway of even a small project being very economic, which means it's easier to get into production, easier permitting process, start small, but scalable, right? When you have such high grade, even a very small amount creates a lot of cash flow.
Absolutely. When you say those high grades, what are your average grades?
I think when we look at either indicated or inferred, we're between that 400 grams to 600 grams per ton, which is also 73% silver, right? So it's very leveraged to silver and very high grade, right? And so that means there's a real potential to be economic, even a smaller operation, right? And that's what's really important. I think it's what really stands about on this project. If we look back in history on how some of these other mid-tier silver companies were produced, it was always on the back of an operation that could get into production quickly, right? But could scale and grow.
Okay.
Right? So there's mines around us, like, I don't know if people know, but Boritica or Marmato of Aris.
Yeah, Marmato, I know,
right? They started very small. They were small operations that grew and grew and grew, and now they're producing over 200,000 ounces. And that's a pathway that Santa Ana could also have.
Wow, okay. Super. So we have spoken now a lot about potential operation, potential production. What is the pathway to get there?
So we really see two pathways. The first is continue to drill and get to that 100 million ounce mark, really pushing and increasing the resource. We see we can create a lot of value for our shareholders. The operational side would be more of a pilot size, just to prove that it could happen, right? Show a pathway to get into production and kind of have the best of both worlds. So right now the focus is on drilling and de-risking the project, maybe starting a very small pilot operation. We've already looked at getting some outside quotes for the plants and now starting the permitting process for a very small operation.
Okay, super. How is the relationship, let's say, with communities, permitting officials, government, etc.? How is it to work in the Colombian environment, I would call it?
I had a great question today during my presentation. Well, we have our doubts about Colombia, and I said that is one of the reasons why we also feel that that's a area we're going to be creating value, because I think Colombia is misunderstood. I think more and more people are understanding. We've seen permits getting into Miraflores, for example, of ICI, I think, just got their permit in place for a similar operation, an underground mining gold operation. We see it a part of the National Development Plan, and I think people will start to understand that, yes, there is a pathway. It's an important part of the future of Colombia, and you can get projects into production. So for us, we've seen this significant change. We've seen local elections really a big shift, especially locally, very much focused in job creation, et cetera. But also, one of the reasons I joined Outcrop was because the work, I've been in Colombia for 7 years and seen the work and understood how important it is, not just to work with your local community, but to create strong relationships locally.
That's important.
Because strong, real relationships are what carry a project through over many years.
When you have everybody on your side, it's much easier to work.
That's right, because they can change national politics. That's true.
Yeah.
I always say local strength can change political will.
Yeah, definitely. So that's Santa Ana, but I think I saw on the map you have 2 or 3 more projects. What's going on there?
Yeah, we have multiple other projects, but right now all the focus is on Santa Ana. We have such a, those are other go-to, or maybe in a better market would be an opportunity to divest or spin out, et cetera. But there's so much value to be created at Santa Ana right now. We are focusing 99.99% of our time on Santa Ana.
Okay, super. Then, of course, in those markets, important, what is the financial situation of the company?
We're doing okay. We've got runway to finish out this exploration program. We also have an at-the-market in place that gives us some flexibility of timing of financing. It's obviously not the greatest market, but we're seeing that the company is holding in, not just because we're drilling and there's expectation of drill results, but I think a deeper understanding of the potential of the project is more than just a high-grade resource, but has all these other, it's been de-risked in other ways and sees this pathway to potentially get into production in a quicker format.
Okay, so that means for next year you are financed?
Next year, we will have to do a financing, but the timing is questionable because we have some flexibility with an at-the-market in place.
That's important. Super. Then what is management share in the company, larger shareholders?
The biggest shareholder of the company is Eric Sprott, personally.
Of course.
And I wish I knew the number right off of the top of my head, but I think it's about the 6 to 8% is management in total.
Okay, super. That's fine. Any other large funds or institutions?
No, at our scale, it's hard to break out. And there's been multiple institutions over time period that have gone in, but there's no big financial block. I think we're right at that size. We're getting to the size where we'll start seeing more institutional interest in the project, especially because I think silver's undervalued, the market is undervalued, Colombia's been undervalued, and we can get a clear pathway to create value even in a bad market. So I think everything's really leveraged great to see a lot of growth in Outcrop in a very short period of time. Independent, if the markets improve, we can continue to create value and then really take off. And the minimal change in silver equity markets are getting the right players involved.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ian. Please create value next year and the shareholders will love it.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there was Ian Harris, the President and CEO of Outcrop Silver and Gold. You heard it, Colombia, totally misunderstood in the markets, very heavily undervalued, and they have fantastic project with Santa Ana. This looks really great, super high grade silver and gold, and 73% of the silver, of the equivalent ounces is silver, which is fantastic. And yeah, things look great and a lot of possibilities to really create value here. And the markets are the markets, but undervalued companies, you can get them now really cheap. So have a look on Outcrop Silver and Gold. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Zurich.